This, of course, by the way, Cure bottom right, uThermal top left. This is such a good build, I think, for Cure against what Thermi is doing, because you scout and you're like, oh, you're probably just going factory up there, but it's 2x Reaper. That being said, if you build the bunker now, I mean, it's ready before 3 Reapers hit, isn't it? And in fact, yeah, he's going to stop at 2 Reapers and just go into Marines. So Cure doesn't even feel like he can do too much here. He might hit just before the bunker's ready, but there should be another Marine. So this is one of these things where I'm like, this should kill this. And yeah, if they're proxied, sure. If you've got like proxied 2 extra barracks or something, maybe. But this is going to be close.
Cure's actually done a lot of strong Reaper Hellion openers versus Terran players cross server. Oh my god, but he's gonna lose both Reapers for it.
The SCV killed the Marine though, so even though cost for cost this is a bad start for Cure, I'm gonna count it as a win because an SCV killing a Marine with its drill is awesome.
Hey.
He's waiting for the combat drugs. Oh, he engages a little early there. Nice grenade though, good micro, and that Hellion is gonna say naughty naughty.
Gets the SCV, I guess, before going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, this it's not the first time Cure's gonna go for a multiple Reaper opener, but he's been a fan of especially against uThermal, it felt like 5 Reapers and 3 Hellions. Remember we asked him about it like during a season finals. And he was like, oh, I think it's just really safe. And I was like, I mean, I guess, but it's like a lot to invest in, but all right.
I mean, Cure, I think, even though he's such a good macro player these days, he does have deep roots as a guy who makes attack and hopes it wins. I'll never forget that semi-finals from like the start of last year or something it was, where Inno gets to game 5. This is when Cure was first starting to ascend. Maybe it was late 2019. I think it was 2020. And yeah, it was like, okay, cool. Like Cure's being more aggressive. He's doing a lot of one-base all-ins. Like, what do you do? In the final game, you know, it's like 1-racks expand into 3rd command center off 1-racks. And like Q is doing one of these like reacted Reaper Hellion medevac, like non-stop 1-base aggressions where you're going to take a natural at like 4 minutes 20. Like it's that 1-base, and Inno's like, blind 3cc, and Kua gets like the easiest win of his life. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's the wisest choice against Kua. Kua does not like he doesn't second guess himself with being aggressive. Like he absolutely has that attitude. So that interview answer, like that totally adds up with my TvT image of Kua.
Yeah, I guess so. I actually think it was TSL, but the point still stands. Like, it can be a crazy TvT here. uThermal so far has done a great job deflecting everything and has taken slight leads in every way we look. Well, except stim timing, I suppose. But stim's not going to be done. It's not going to be useful for Cure for a little while, even though he's got a decent number of Marines already building. uThermal's pushing with a single tank, a Raven. It's not the strongest army, but once he gets lodged into a position, it's going to be very difficult to dislodge. Well,
Q is going to be going for this like very stim Marine kind of 2-on-1 focus style as well off the 2-racks opening. So you're always very weak against tanks with this build. That being said, he does have a Raven, which is like a lot of the time, like Gumiho's been doing a lot of these Marine openings that Q is doing. They're really coming back into popularity. And he'll skip the Ravens entirely and stuff, but notice the tanks only now starting to build for Cure. So yeah, once stim's done, he's got a big arc of Marines stimming on you. I mean, his army is way better. But if you can force a fight, like right around the time stim finishes and your tanks are like pre-sieged and set up, no combat shields, medevac's only just about to pop. It's just a much better technical army. So can uThermal leverage his tech unit advantage right now before the Marine upgrades kick in and Cure gets stronger than him? Cure apparently has no chill, it just goes across the map. Okay, this is going to be a shit show.
I was going to say that is always an option. I don't know if Cure recognizes how close uThermal is to actually busting him, but uThermal, to be fair, it's not like he has an army that is necessarily the greatest at pouncing. You know, it is supposed to kind of leapfrog forward safely, slowly, and as such, you can use 16 Marines to drop and probably buy enough time to get another 16 Marines, and that time they'll actually have combat shields. But the medevac drops actually head right into Vikings accidentally, so one already severely injured, still gonna drop on top of the 3rd CC. uThermal, you know, should be able to save this. But now it's a worry.
Oh, he gets the command center! Wow! That was clutch. I love that uThermal just saw that, was like, fuck it, go. Just drops every single auto turret to get the command center. He saves his own one. And that's actually really fortunate, because if Q just stimmed on, boosted on top, he could have dropped Marines on the tank and the 2 Vikings. Vikings and been on the production. uThermal's playing mech. He only has 1 factory building tanks, 1 starport building Vikings. This sort of drop that Q is doing is very strong against this because he's got so much maneuverability, and uThermal does not.
He does have a lot of Vikings, and a missile turret even helps take care of the medevac. So now it is only the Marines. Seconds before combat shields finishes, the Vikings starting to get demolished, though, as the tanks can't chase down these Marines. And Kier takes down a lot before he's taken care of, but he lost a 3rd CC back at home. So did he actually make up for that by killing 11 SCVs?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's still a little behind, but he builds a command center as uThermal scans and has to cancel it. That's very good for uThermal. uThermal's still here in this annoying position. So uThermal is like building better long-term units. He's got double upgrades on the way. That's awesome. He's still on 1 factory, 1 starport though. Oh, nice cleanup. This is going to be such a good cleanup. The stim shield's done on the Marines, and he loses almost no units. That is a beautiful cleanup for Cure.
I do like that uThermal, late to the party with his Ravens. I'm not sure a couple auto turrets would have saved him, so he realizes it and then just tries to keep the Ravens alive. They're gonna have a long journey back home. If they even try to go back home, they could stick around and try and just auto turret harassment, but then they might be too crucial back at home. uThermal's going into mech, whose production is even more limited than mech usually is. He's still only on the 1-1-1 setup. So it really has to be perfectly placed tanks and Vikings, and even then, it might not be enough. Cure has such a mobile army that can get such a powerful concave. 1 interference matrix could actually ruin uThermal's day, or an auto turret to soak the first shot. It's going to soak the second shot as well. uThermal actually unsieges the second tank as well. And now it's sieged up, but the 3rd command center is already a goner. That went by super quick.
Yeah, and now I just drop into the main. Turrets are there though, so the medevacs are going to take a bit of damage, but they won't actually go down. And so you got tanks and Marines inside their base. I mean, auto turret's going to try and take this out, but the stim Marines, look at their firepower. They clear this way too quickly, and that's a kill move for Cure. I think this is absolutely just finding that soft spot. And you know what? I think mech is really underused, really good in TvT right now. I gotta say, Gumio has basically been washing up, polishing up Cure's anti-mech play. He's been playing so much against anti-mech, against Gumio in every online weekly cup over the last month, so Cure is super well practiced against that.
The top right, we have Cure, now up 1-0.
And trying to smash my pie here in between games. In the bottom left-hand side, in the blue, it's uThermal.
I do miss that about Australia. We're definitely, I'm gonna plan on going back to Australia, maybe like in 2022, I guess.
Hells yeah.
I heard you guys are not having a great time with COVID right now.
No, getting our butts kicked. Yeah, it's lame, but hopefully soon. Yeah, I had a fun medical day yesterday. My day off, I went to the dentist for a filling and I got a COVID test. It was super fun. I was like, I'm going to different medical institute. No, it's not too bad overall. I think just, we got so lucky last year when everyone was going through hell, and it's just annoying because we're kind of in this protracted lockdown. Our case numbers are still relatively not wild compared to what the rest of the world has experienced, but it's just kind of a bit of a bummer to be locked down, and I'm still a bit human starved because I came straight from subathon to lockdown, so my timing was appalling.
Yeah, it's actually a bummer. Yeah, I mean, the difference is that I'll be going to Sweden, I'll be going to the United Kingdom right after, and it's like a little, it's not my favorite time to go because, cases are kind of high and they'll probably start to decrease in both the America and the UK like soonish, but since everyone's vaccinated, I still feel like rather safe. It's just that I wouldn't want to go to a country that's in lockdown. So, if the UK tomorrow was like, actually, we're going to take back what we said. We're not going to be totally open. Go back to staying inside all the time. Like, obviously, I wouldn't want to travel. So, if Australia was still hunky-dory, A-okay, no quarantine necessary, I would even consider traveling there, but not really a point to doing it now.
Rain.
Yeah, it's going to be a while, I think, before that. So, big thank you to supporters on the stream, by the way, guys. Sorry I've been ignoring you. I'm just, we'll give you guys the thanks between the games. But yeah, it looks like pretty conservative kind of openings here. Very late command center, of course, for Cure compared to uThermal's one, which is just it's a quick expand, but it's on the high ground. So this was a gas first expand, right?
Think so.
Yeah, that's really fast Hellion production for uThermal. Getting away with that with just one Reaper for defense on a tiny map, yeah, I'd feel pretty good. Just run away with the Reaper and wait for the Hellions to pop. Run!
I really want to be able to take down one before it died. This is going to be probably like 3 SCV losses. Maybe more. Oh, the surrounds! Even with the surround, that still means more SCVs will go down. Maybe a 5th one, yep, before everything is said and done. And that is still a good use of 2 Reapers. Kira takes a 4-worker lead, as his command center is about 80% done. uThermals is turning into an orbital, sure, but then it has to lift and move over and then produce 2 SCVs at a time. So I actually like Kira's position, but uThermal is going for a bit of a cheese. He's going for Hellion Marauder. He's going to drop on top of whatever power unit Kira has, whether it's a Cyclone or a tank. Actually, it might be both, so he's going to have to pick and choose. And then hopefully deal a ton of damage. But you know, it's been a long time since I've actually witnessed this specific build do enough damage.
Yeah, Clem used to use this a lot. I remember I tried it a bunch of times. Didn't work. Things like this, taking 5 SCV losses, you know, it is cutting a corner, right? You know, trying to do a gas expand with just one Reaper, like that is wild. That is dangerous. It will get you in trouble. If Q is a little cautious with his Reaper Hellion, that's where this build super excels. So Marauder Hellion going to dive. The defensive Banshee, obviously nothing shoots up with this build. So once that's out, it will put a timer on this. But, I mean, it's pretty well positioned for Cure. I think uThermal, honestly, his best bet is to back off here and Hellion drop.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but it's kind of, it's actually really not what you want to do with this build. There you go. Well, Kier now sits nice and comfy up 2-0, spawning in the bottom left of Oxide.
And in the top right-hand side, it is uThermal.
The chat started talking about hangover cures. Someone's suggesting something to help with nausea. Can't help but be interested. I always like... It's not exactly a problem to not being able to drink like a whole ton, because you probably don't want to do that too super often. But man, I really hate the fact that like I could have like a 1 glass of whiskey or like 2 mixed drinks and my tummy will already be upset. If there is a miracle drug for nausea, I would take it.
That sucks. Yeah, it's there's certain drink combinations and stuff as well get you. Yeah, I find it's really bad if I've had a big meal before drinking as well. That like,
yeah,
because it just and my pseudoscience explanation is that just the alcohol sticks to all the food in there, so it's slow. It's slower to like leach into my system rather than it just hitting like hard and fast. Be like, no, don't drink on an empty stomach. And I'm like, well, no, you can just be aware that you're going to get hit like a brick, but it's going to get in and out of my system quicker is what I feel happens, whether that's actually what's happening or not. That's what it feels like. And then I always feel like much more upset stomach the next day if I've like drunk too much on a heavy stomach. Obviously, you know, there's factors, drinking a lot of bubbly beers and wines, mixing those with some spirits and everything else, and heaps of sugary juices and cocktails and things. Whereas, you know, you have a bunch of skinny bitches. What do you guys? You guys call them White Claws now, which is literally skinny bitch in a can. It's just soda water or seltzer, as many people call it over there in the land of the free, with lime and vodka, right?
Yeah. I mean, White Claw's a brand, right? Is Skinny Bitch a brand for you guys?
No, that's just the name if someone orders it, because they're usually a skinny bitch if they're ordering it.
I was going to say, because there is a brand in America called Skinny Girl.
Oh, really?
And I was like, maybe Australia is just doing that thing where they don't care about curses. And it's called Skinny Bitch in Australia.
No, I was at a bar once and my friend was like, oh, I'm getting a skinny bitch. And I was like, what the fuck does that even, what? And I was like, oh yeah, okay, that does describe that drink. Once they like told me what it was, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'll have one. I don't want to feel all bloated tomorrow. Fuck yeah.
I'm with you about the full stomach thing too, though. Like, so many people are always like, you know, don't eat on an empty, or don't drink on an empty stomach. And I've like heeded their advice, and I just realized like 2-3 years ago, I was like, no, actually, it 100% makes me feel worse. I'd rather not eat and get to drinking. So I'm trying to find that magical pathway to a carefree evening with the, drinks and friends. But I haven't found the magic secret yet. So I was telling my chat that I bought Pedialyte, which is like for like kids, but it's just like, it's like Gatorade times 10. It's like the saltiest, thickest water you'll ever taste.
Oh my God.
But supposedly it's like amazing for hangovers, but I think it's amazing for like dehydration hangovers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't think nausea is really that related to a lot of the time.
Right.
That's more the headaches, right? The splitting, the light, splitting headache, the light hurts you, loud noise is too much, your brain is throbbing, like that sort of stuff is it. But hey, big attack from uThermal. Lots of Reapers and Aliens. You're talking about Cure liking this build. Well, uThermal does as well. He's got to get rid of that Cyclone, but the Cyclone with a quick pullback and the Drilly Boy support equals a good pullback for uThermal, who takes a good trade. He gets 100 more minerals killed there and backs off out of it. Now, obviously, slight SCV advantage to Cure, but into the Cyclone, into the Raven tank there. There should be a Raven advantage. It's like 10-second Raven, maybe 12-second Raven advantage for Cure. So yeah, this is a pretty even game, pretty like similar. I'm looking for edges, but it is almost identical.
The biggest addition here for Cure is that he has one more tank. So, I mean, that is pretty big. One more tank also means one more interference matrix necessary to actually take away all tank power, which, is actually now it's in Cure's power. He could do the push with two Ravens, but have interference matrix aplenty to take down whatever uThermal has defending. So I think that's the biggest worry for uThermal.
Yeah,
that
indeed.
and just the idea that like he has not quite gotten Cure taken down, whether it's in a series or in this series, even a game. So it's more like, for me, I'm just scared that Cure is going to win a TvT regardless.
Yeah, indeed. I think this looks definitely advantage for Cure. He's very good at turtling up, but I do agree that there is a potential Viking tank Raven timing, and with two Cyclones out actually as well. Wow. So 2 Cyclones, 2 tanks. So actually adding the extra Cyclone is really bizarre for Cure there. And he's going to dive on across this map. 4th gas on the way, 3rd command center for both players. And welcome to Oxide. Both players push out at the exact same time. They miss each other. Who's gonna dive in harder and faster? Because they're probably the player that wins.
Right, yeah, whoever actually gets on top of production. Cure has a tank pop out, uThermal has a tank pop out, and kind of safely up on the high ground. Cure also spent a lot more time just in the middle of the map doing nothing. Quick cancel on his command center, but obviously his starport being a target is concerning. Cure, he's trying to go for the attack now. uThermal, it's not even that maybe he hasn't realized it's a base trade. It's just that even if he sieged his tank, an interference matrix would take it down anyways. So it's actually better to try and run away. It doesn't successfully run away. But anytime bot is good, uThermal needs to get where Cure is, basically. He needs to actually get onto the high ground, and he's so late to doing it.
Well, this is kind of funny, because even though uThermal went first, I said, that'll favor, that'll win. Well, it's if you go up the guts first. It's not set up for a little siege angle. He assumed Cure was just sitting in his natural defending. Now, he does end up cleaning this attack up finally here, but at massive, massive cost. And on the other side of the map, of course, Cure has a big defense ready on the high ground. Starport's going to fall for Cure as well. So, I mean, back on Cure's side, though, command center goes down. Remember, he had to cancel his 3rd command center before as well. I mean, he's rebuilding it, so he'll be back to 2 command centers soon. The 3 tanks are definitely unbreakable. A lot of depots and SCVs going to go down. All the SCVs can't mine right now. That's the big problem for uThermal.
This is a really weird game. Cure's also going to lose all of his SCVs a bit later, but Cure also lost that command center. Jeez, this is a hard game to call. uThermal's going to try and mine, but Cure's actually on top of it. And now Cure's looking to maybe bust out of his main. If he brought his Ravens back, 100% he could bust out.
Oh, he's going to get 1 tank in range there. Viking takes a bit of damage for it, but uThermal losing a tank. The Vikings, oh my. Oh, Cue you, brave boy.
That's, I mean, uThermal, he comes in with the Ravens, auto turrets all of the tanks to death. And now Cure is trying to combat 2 tanks to 2, but his Ravens with the auto turret actually tipped the scales. Cure coming out ahead by 6 workers, but down a command center. Up 7 army supply, but does he have the ability to actually use it?
I mean, I think Cure wins, but god damn, this is so weird. Raven battle! What's up? Let's go! Raven versus Raven. Gets one of the Ravens and a tank, so good for uThermal. He's up a Raven. He's got 3 command centers that can finally drop mules, but honestly, I think this would have been good for uThermal. It's just all of his SCVs in the main died, and all of his SCVs were trapped, unable to mine between, you know, the army was kind of pushing him back, and so because of that, it feels now like Q has the advantage, but the 3rd orbital is finishing for him. Okay, so Stim and Shields are going to come in versus just Stim for uThermal. uThermal has an extra Raven, but there's an extra tank. Q has a single Viking being annoying. The Ravens want to go harass right now. The barracks don't have add-ons except for the tech lab for uThermal, whilst we've got a reactor and 2 tech labs for Cure. What I'm doing is I'm out loud trying to figure out who's ahead, who's behind, and once again, it's a very close game. Q has a little bit more material to work with, and that Viking, oh my god, red hit point SCVs in the main.
4 SCVs, 5, maybe a 6th if he hadn't misfired. That's a lot of damage in this type of game, but still only putting Cure up by 1 worker because auto turrets come in and deal even more damage to Cure, delay more mining, and the Ravens do get away without any harm done to them.
Well, the Raven has an interference matrix though for Cure, so keep that in mind, because that one interference matrix is only 1 tank, 2 tanks. Okay, 2nd tank pops for uThermal now. And it's going to be a drop in the back door, which in this sort of low economy game is so hard to cover. uThermal's forces are at the front. Now, uThermal has a good marine count, but his shields has just started, whereas shields is finished for Cure. So 2 medevacs healing overhead, plus that, and the marines are moving out for uThermal! No! Terrible timing for him, and he gets punished. This should be a game-winning maneuver. Cure there, diving into the main. Says low economy situation, dropping in your face is one of the best moves you can do. The tanks are going to try and come forward with the arc of stimmed marines, but watch the choke point between the factory and the command center. Those marines get clumped up there. Interference matrix answers for Cure, and those combat shields we talked about, they're just too big.
Yeah, the 2nd tank is going to be unleashed, but now the dead zone is being abused for both players.
Taste!
Dropping SCV!
Taste my drill!
The tank. Oh my god! It helps just the little tiniest amounts. But 2 marines in the main might be too much. Auto turret's gonna have to save the day, but actually if he throws it down, he's gonna just lift up. He's gonna get out of there.
So well done by Cure, and that was massive damage. uThermal's going to hang on in there for a little bit, but behind this, double upgrades on the way. Remember that 3rd command center did build. Q accidentally lifts the wrong command center to his 3rd. Oh, shit. It's good to see. It's not just us watching the game and going, what is this madness? Q also having a little bit of trouble. These Ravens of uThermal are up to 17 kills between the pair of them, and they're going to get spotted by this Marine rally.
So much that Cure can do about it. He doesn't have any Vikings, so it's just... I mean, he could try and... he could be more committed to his push, knowing the Ravens will be back at home to defend. I guess there is that. And actually, uThermal trying to be risk-taking, really. Puts his 3rd on location. No way he can defend that. I mean, I guess he thinks he's going to have time to lift it if it is under attack. He's going to get away with it somehow, some way. The Ravens go in for auto turret harassment, and Cure just goes into the natural. And he's allowed to, is the problem. Only 1 take of the high ground for uThermal is not enough to stop this. And that is Cure taking the 3-0.
Hot diddly damn. GG, well played.